All right, here's some feedback on the Montage project. I really like this project. The image is gorgeous. The white space is awesome, and it gives the text a place to live and breathe, and the eyes a place to rest. Really, really like that. The text could use some contrast. So is there a word or a phrase that you can make pop out somehow with contrast, make it different than the rest of the text so that we can immediately understand what the main idea is without reading this? We will read it, especially if you pull us in by emphasizing one part, either a single phrase, or a single word. I love the contrast that you made between the quote and the reference, the first presidency. That simple size and typeface contrast really helps create a hierarchy on this page. So I, I can understand quickly what is the most important information. I love that you've left aligned this text. One thing that you might want to change is that this word children is all by itself. That's called a widow. If at the end of a paragraph there's a word that's all by itself, then it's a widow, and you don't want that. So if you just simply change the width of this paragraph, then more of these words will come down and join children. So it's not alone like a widow. Also, the first presidency is just floating out there without any alignment connecting it to anything else. So I would either nest it up in here with proximity, so bring it in closer, or I would align it with this strong left alignment. So just bring it over here. Also get rid of hyphens. Hyphens should never be used for anything but hyphenating a word. So get rid of that hyphen. I like the name tag here. It helps me understand what the message is about. The one thing that I'm wondering is, does this name tag connect more with you personally, or does it help your audience understand what's going on? Because it doesn't say elder or sister, and because it's in a different language, it might be that your audience won't connect or won't understand as easily what you're trying to say. Also, there's a tangent right here with the name tag. It's just barely skimming that corner, and so it creates an unwanted focus at the edge. And because it's all transparent, it said, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to look at it or not look at it. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be covered in the snow, or if it's supposed to be you're a return missionary and so your name tag has died and gone to spirit world. It's a little confusing and a little distracting. I almost wish this project didn't have to be a montage, because your image is so strong by itself without this. And I'm not sure what to tell you. I, I guess try something different. If you want to come see me, get some feedback on some different options here, then I'd be happy to talk with you about it. At least consider a name tag with that your audience can read. Okay. I love these big rocks and this faded mountain in the back in the corner here it can be a really nice image, but the whole thing is transparent. It's like a spirit mountain. So I'm not exactly sure what that's supposed to imply. But my main concern isn't the image, because I could probably make sense of it once I read the quote. My main concern is that this quote is shoved down in the corner. Well, it's not shoved. It is down in the corner. So we've got a secondary image that's up in this corner, and a quote that's down in this corner. And what we want is more white space around this quote and more contrast within this quote, so I understand what your message is. Is it about powerful beyond measure? Is it about deepest fear? Visually, help me quickly understand that. And then take away the hyphen from Marianne Williamson and make the quote more dominant than Marianne Williamson. I like that you left aligned this, but that hyphen throws off the left alignment, so just get rid of it. and don't use hyphens unless you're hyphenating a word. This is a great image. It might come across as a little bit cliche. Why? The Savior's not cliche. The statue's not even cliche. It's an awesome statue. The temple is not cliche. But we've all seen the Christus statue used in inspirational and religious messages before. And so unless you treat it differently, unless you find a unique way to present it, it comes across as not not powerful. We don't feel it. Same with the temple. Just fuzzing the edges out and putting it in the sky here. Treat it more. You've got to treat it more carefully. Okay, but again, here, just like on the second one, my concern isn't so much with the image as with the text. I love that you've got strong contrast between size and typeface. That's awesome. I don't love that you've center aligned your text. I'm not sure what I need to do to help my students know that I agree with the book and I agree with what I've said in class. Don't center align your text. The power of a visible or an invisible vertical line connecting things is hidden when you center align. So there's an invisible line running through this text, but we can't see it. It's not obvious. If you look at these other two, see that nice strong line right there? That makes the message strong. And the message that he lives is a strong message. When you center a line, you're either saying it very, very reverently and poetically, or you're saying it weakly. Not weakly like W-E-E, but W-E-A-K-L-Y. You're saying, I kind of think that maybe he lives. But that's not how you feel about it, so make it strong. And I would recommend on this one that you right align the text so that it connects with this image. Okay? Just right align the text. I would also bring he lives out from behind. Right now it's hard to read and it creates some tangents. Tangents are little unwanted areas of visual focus where little tiny shapes or sharp angles are created. And that happens a lot when we overlap things. And just bringing it up would be an easy way to fix that. Nice contrast here using color, and it looks like you used bold too a little bit. That's great. And I love this strong alignment between the reference and the question mark. You hung the quotation marks off the edge. That's awesome. I love the size contrast here. This image on the bottom is really powerful. This image in the top, it's a great image, but we've seen it. And just making it transparent in the sky doesn't make it strong. It makes it a little cliche. Also, the fact that his head is almost at the very top crowds him, and you don't want to crowd him. He deserves plenty of headroom. So you can't really bring him off the top. You don't want to cut off the top of his head. But consider something different maybe for your second image. What if it was some lightning? Or what if it was something more symbolic? Maybe light. I don't know. Think carefully about what you use for your second image. I love the Savior, but I wonder if you could communicate him more powerfully if you didn't show him exactly, literally, I guess. This decorative font is really hard to read. I understand why you used it, but it's really hard to read. Each character has its own little unique personality, and it says, hey, look at me, and so it becomes really distracting, and this whole image becomes kind of chaotic. Also, you have a nice strong alignment here, but the quotation mark throws it off, and this throws it off. So I would get rid of this. I would get rid of the quotation mark or hang the quotation mark off the edge. If you really want to use this font, use it for the word or the phrase that you want to stand out. Maybe it's bravery to stand up, or maybe it's friends. Whatever your main message is, let that stand out. The word Gryffindor is actually interfering with your quote. So I understand that Gryffindor is about, that's the house that has brave people in it. But it's not really part of your quote. I don't know. I'm not sure what to tell you. I wonder about these images too. I wonder if just like in the last critique I did, if maybe not showing something literally would allow you to communicate more powerfully. Yeah, size contrast, or not just size, but contrast. Albus Dumbledore, as important as he is, he's not your message. It's this that's your message. And so maybe that's my concern here. You've got lion, baby, quote, Dumbledore, Gryffindor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that are all, visually, they're all saying, I'm the most important part of this message. I don't know where to look. I don't know what you're trying to say. Well, I do. But it takes me too long to figure it out. Make it clear, obvious, clean, fast. This is a great, clean, clear, obvious, quick message. I can tell without even thinking that this is about time. And this somewhat abstract water drop, it doesn't take away from that. It makes sense. The passage of time, you can see it, you can feel it. Really like that. I love the contrast between this big word and this heavy text, and then the little bit lighter text and smaller. Thomas S. Monson needs contrast as well. He's not what this quote is all about. I mean, not this quote. He's not what this project is all about. He's the third most important text, so make it go 1, 2, 3. Visually, let him be less prominent. I wonder about moving this. It's not in a bad place, but left aligning it makes it align to nothing or to the edge of this. It doesn't really align it to the clock. It kind of separates these two instead of uniting them. I wonder about right aligning it or bringing it over to this side and left aligning it. You'd have to make the text lighter if you brought it over here, maybe even white. But just a thought. Play with that and see what you think. One thing I love about this project is that it communicates madness and being entirely bonkers. Visually, it communicates that because there's so much going on, so much craziness, tea parties and brambles and fonts that are almost the same and teacups all piled up. So really nice job there. Even text that's turned on its side. I get the idea that things are bonkers. I don't know that it's an inspirational message. So you might consider changing your quote, changing your images. Or can you communicate the madness but still follow good principles of design, like strong alignments, white space, contrast. There's some contrast here, but the conflict between this typeface and this typeface, it's disturbing. I know I can say that because I know you, and we can talk. So anyway, consider that. Hope that helps. All right. I wish this wasn't Mick Jagger. He's not my favorite person in the world. If you ever have a chance, Google Gene R. Cook and Mick Jagger. Interesting who Mick Jagger is, and at least something that he felt at one point in his life. So anyway, the strong place in your image is right here, where Mick Jagger's image lives. And I like that you brought need in right there, because those two things are strong and they're coming together. Everything else is kind of floating around out here. Maybe you get what you need. That's okay. You get what you Although, see all this space right here? So there's medium space, little space, little space, big space. Don't let that big space throw off the relationship between these words. Don't let things float without having a connection. If it was me, I would make a strong invisible line between Mick Jagger and the word need, and then I would right align this text here, and I would left align Mick Jagger there, and I would bring these two lines closer to each other. I'd get rid of the ellipsis, I'd get rid of this big space, I'd bring it all in so that it's united. I'd maybe even make need bigger, and play with how this text is all kind of working together as a unified message. You're on the right track. This is a good example of montage down here. Even though the secondary image is just kind of texture, it adds some interest and doesn't detract. So I like that. I wonder about your color scheme. It's okay, but with all these colors down here, it seems like the top part is a different, it's almost a different theme or a different message than what's going on down here. Maybe mix should be a little purplish, or maybe stuff up here should have yellows and reds. I don't know. Play with it and see what you think. Your background image is beautiful. The text is hard to read, and it's center aligned. And even though it's beautiful, the background image is two transparent images, and so the message that the image sends is not clear. Also, the message that your text sends, unless I read it, it's confusing that champion, connection, and best are all really prominent. I would pick one of those three and make it even more prominent. If you want to leave two of them kind of this prominence, that's great. But I'd like to see more contrast. I'd also like to see more white space. Give me a place where my eyes can go. There's a little bit here in the corner, a little bit here in the corner, a little bit. Bring their text size down, and don't put it right over this little girl. It's like you're trying to hide her, or she's trying to hide. And then take off the hyphen and make a strong alignment and more contrast between Rita Pearson and her quote. Sorry I'm repeating myself so much. Okay, I love on this particular project how clear your message is. A child's future is full of possibilities, very, very clear. Even if I don't ever aspire to becoming Johnny Depp and having all these different options, it's still clear that there are so many options for one person can be anything that they want to be. And this image is so beautiful, really. Text is nice and readable. It's got white space. I would get rid of the ellipses. I don't think they're necessary. I'd also find a strong place to align things. So right now it's not connected, the edges. It's not connected here. It's not really connected here. So find a place where there's a connection, maybe here with the eyes. Give me some contrast in the text so that one idea stands out from all of these words. Full of possibilities, or future, or a child's future, whatever it is, let something be contrastive and dominant and something be less dominant. You might need to create a place where there's more space. You do have space here, but if you use this as a line, then you'll run out of space, and you might need to rethink kind of the positioning of everything. Also, all these Johnny Depps are not really connected to anything, and they're all just kind of transparentish in the sky. Although I can see why you're doing that. It does contribute to the message. It seems messy compared to the baby, and a little dark, I guess. Maybe that's just me. I get what you're saying. Um, I wonder if future possibilities could be something more uplifting than Johnny Depp. I'm not sure what, but maybe this baby could be dreaming of clouds or of the universe, stars. I don't know. Just a thought. Never, ever, ever, never, ever, ever give up. Winston Churchill. Good strong alignment here with your text, except for this is not connected to anything, so I would just bring Winston Churchill in. Even if he's not right up there, if he's aligned, that will help create a connection. Your image is pretty good. The text is doing something kind of interesting here. How you lose the text in front, and all you get is the shadow, and then the shadow becomes darker and darker till it's black. That's interesting. At least you have a strong alignment, strong readable text. Watch out for tangents. Make sure that there's things that the text isn't right on the edge of things, and that it's very readable. So where the dark text is over the dark image, that makes it harder. This is even a little hard to read, not as contrastive as I would hope. You might create a darkened area where the text could all live comfortably. What else? I'm not sure. There's something interesting about this image. Maybe it's her midriff. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's her invisible arm. Maybe it's because, and you do have some pixel blending up here. This seems more like a collage than a montage. So you might just look at the requirements for the project and see if you're montage-y enough. I don't know. I'm not sure what else to say. Come see me if you have questions. Maybe we can brainstorm some things together. It's not that I don't like this, but something is odd here. Maybe there's too much going on, too many mountains. I don't know. I'm not really sure. Okay, some nice white space here in this corner. A lot of montage-y stuff with the Lost Boys and the Tinkerbell and Peter Pan. Need some contrast here. Take the quotation mark off and the hyphen, and I would say right align this text and give me some contrast in it so that an idea stands out. Text is too crowded into that corner. All of the text is the same weight. Give me some contrast. I understand the flag and the one nation under God, but I'm not sure what this monument or this building is. Maybe it's because I don't know. I'm not sure what it is. It looks familiar, but I'm not sure how it connects with the message. Also, the space between these lines seems like it's more than necessary. It separates them instead of uniting them. And if this is about being united, one nation, unity is pretty important. Also, it's aligned to the left, and so that makes it unites it with the edge. Whereas, you've got a strong image here. Why not bring it to, align it right, or move the image over, and then you could use this left alignment kind of like along this side. So that's some ideas there. And I wish I understood what was going on here better. I definitely get the flag, but the building I'm not sure of. Love those eyes. That's really cool image. So it looks like we've got like dark waves down here and blue sky up here, and then Jungle Boy. Maybe from Lord of the Flies. I don't know where that image is coming from. Maybe it doesn't matter. But I think you could do a softer blend here and maybe I don't understand why it's that shape. Does that mean something? The waves maybe make sense, or maybe this is a mountain. Can't tell for sure. Mahatma Gandhi shouldn't float. Uh, be the change. The quote shouldn't go from all the way from one edge all the way to the other. Give us a strong place and give us some contrast. For example, his eye could be a left alignment place. In fact, maybe we could repeat a color in somewhere, maybe in the word change, or maybe in the whole thing. This is a really, really good start. I really like where it's starting. But just keep pushing it so that it follows a design principle, so that I can immediately get the message and feel inspired by it. Great image. I love these little birds. People probably won't see those, but I love that your blending is really subtle and doesn't detract. And your quote has good readability, except for the fact that it's all uppercase. You might look for a font that has upper and lowercase. Uppercase works well for a title or for display copy, but when you have a lot of words, uppercase is hard to read because we don't get word shapes. So that's something to consider. Also, because you're right aligning this text, it's aligned with the right edge, but it doesn't unite with the image. So you might left align this to bring it in to her. I wonder about her gaze, looking off, if that's going to pull people away, pull the viewer off of the page. If you have more image over here, I wonder what it would look like if your text was there instead of on her hair. Maybe you could crop it differently so that she comes off. She's moved over to the right. Give me some contrast between here and give me some contrast in there. I feel like I've said that on almost all of my critiques so far. I love this temple, and I love the prophet Joseph Smith, but this feels a little cliche. The text is also hard to read. The contrast here seems backwards to me. Maybe this is really about Joseph Smith, but don't you want us to read your quote? My tendency would be to make Joseph Smith Jr. less prominent and the quote more prominent. Also, we need some white space. Everything's like, this is trapped in this area, and this area is all taken up. There's a little bit of space in here, but give me more sky or more, I don't know, I just need not just a place for my eyes to rest, but to feel like there's not so much going on. Big prophet in the sky and big temple and big quote. It's hard to read. I wonder if this text would be more readable if it was white. Also, I wonder about left aligning it so that it unites with your image. Also wonder about, don't wonder, take off the hyphen. It's a beautiful image. I think the text needs some help, but the image is really cool. There's kind of a flame and a ballerina and this decoration thing, kind of abstract, but really like that. Text needs some help, some alignment, some contrast, some white space. So I'm not going to say anything else. Just go back and look at the other, the critiques I did before yours if you haven't watched those. Looks like Anne of Green Gables. Great, nice image with lots of white space. Does the quote really have to go up and that far away? Maybe so that you can have contrast. That's the hard thing. You might need to darken the image or something, but move it out of the corner. Take the quotation mark off the strong alignment. Take the hyphen off. Good contrast here, but give me some contrast there. I think, is the blending happening with this little girl probably? Because a montage is supposed to look like the pixel blending is supposed to be obvious. And don't just use transparency to blend, but give me I don't know, give me something. The hardest thing about the road not taken is that you never know where it might have led. Yeah, I'm not going to think too deeply about it, but you might consider using a different image here for your second one. Or maybe these two are the blended ones. I'm not really positive. I think it's got to be here. And definitely give your text some more attention. Oh, this is interesting. A soldier and a missionary. That's interesting. This too is less montage-y and more collage-y because of the way that these are blending. It's kind of cool though, and could be, for some people, could be disturbing that the missionary is superimposed on top of the soldier and the gun. But I don't know. Ask some people what do they think when they see this. It might be inspirational to them. I like that you've got contrast here. Take the quotation marks off. Align right so that it's united with this side. Then give me some contrast in the text so that I know what's the important message. Nothing is standing out to me here. Everything is the same weight. So even the little boy, this picture up here, I'm not sure what the pictures on the walls mean. If I read the quote, it might make sense to me. But give me something that is prominent. Right now, everything is kind of like it's supposed to be in second place and nothing is in first place. And this text is really hard to read. It looks like a modern, and so when it's small, the thin places disappear and all you get is this heavy vertical stuff. Great image. It's treated the Savior's treated differently, uniquely here than typical, like that. This light seems out of place, but maybe as a part of your message. President Thomas S. Monson, because it's in such a fancy font, it makes it seem like this, your message is President Thomas S. Monson. But I don't think that's your message. So I would make the person who said it less contrastive and the quote itself more contrastive. I love all the white space. Give me some contrast in this text. I love your left alignment. Yeah, nice job. So hard in our society to not use images that other people that we haven't seen before. This is a powerful image, but because we've all seen it, you have to do something to make it different. And you've done a pretty good job with that. Give me some contrast here. You're using a creative alignment, but consider, and I can see why you did that too. It repeats this diagonal. Move it away from the edge even more if you can. Give me some contrast within the quote. I like that these lines are close together and united. Yeah, be careful with how you blend. The montage is supposed to have obvious blending of pixels, I guess you could say, and not so much like it looks like it was cut out and put in. So look at some of the examples that are on iLearn from past students and see if that gives you some ideas. And I hope this video is helpful. Sorry it's so long. See ya.